Well, good morning, my friends, and I hope everyone is doing well today. I got to work and I'm preparing to start my day. It's about 7:30 a.m. Kind of takes me back to a time when I used to make videos from my old job site up in the hills, and I'd watch the sunrise and talk about my thoughts on philosophy and existence and how at a period in my life that was new and fresh, discovering the different philosophies of history, the different philosophers, thinkers, writers, people who have shaped the world that we all live in, even though we might not realize it. Many of the ideas that we use in our work ethic, in our politics, in our spirituality, were all derived from a few great thinkers of the past who were willing to share the knowledge that they came up with other people. And those people were receptive and willing to say, maybe you're right. You could think of some of these as very simple concepts. As I mentioned, work. You can think about work ethic as being an example. To a person who's not raised with any particular values, who, let's say, they aren't really taught anything about how society works or how to treat people, and they've never learned any of these lessons. Let's just say theoretically a person's basically never been exposed to any ideas other than maybe learning a trade or how to work. So the person becomes an adult, starts a job, and begins to think of their own philosophies as to how to properly conduct themselves. So one person may say, I find that if I don't work hard and I just slack when I have the extra time, then I don't have to work as hard as the other people and I still get paid the same amount. And they may think that they found a loophole in the system, a way to get paid for not doing anything. A person who has been taught work ethic will be told that all that will do is create guilt in yourself that you're not worthy of your own income, which for some people may be okay. But what I'm getting at here is that a person who has worked hard, a person who works hard even when the boss isn't looking, a person who puts in their all and tries, even though we may not be completely 100% immersed in everything we do. A person who comes home at the end of the day and knowing that they've worked hard will build an understanding of the world that allows them to feel like they've done their best. So a person who works extra hard and gets underpaid may be more satisfied than a person who underworks and gets overpaid. Now, this isn't always true, of course. Many different types of people. I would say the latter probably is less common. A person who, let's just say a person who works hard and doesn't feel like they get paid what they're worth, that can be difficult. But what is it about these lessons that we've learned about ourselves and our spirit? Another example away from work would be like spirituality. This idea that we don't need God, right? Which I was raised to believe, or at least it's the philosophy I came up with when I was younger, that we don't need others telling us to be spiritual or to find any deeper truth than just this existence. I do not agree with that anymore. And the older I get, the more I understand if a group of people does not have some sort of a spiritual direction, they will create one out of culture. They will create one out of their surroundings. And often that can be beneficial, especially if a person is, say, looks to nature for their spiritual guidance. But as most of us live in suburbs and cities, that makes it a little more difficult to navigate because we find culture to be our spirit, culture to be our religion, and the city life becomes the norm. We cannot see the forest for the trees. We can't even We don't even know where we're going as a society. We have found the religion of progress. A lot of folks say it's a religion of money and status. And for some people, that's part of it, for sure. But it's really a religion of progress. This idea that if we just distract ourselves long enough, we'll get a few things done and the world will just keep on improving. Everyone will be happier. We see this just isn't the case. Sometimes the people who lead the most mundane lives, not poor, not starving, not hungry all the time or unemployed, but just a very boring, mundane life, can often be the most rewarding when you talk to these people. Folks who have their own, their own space, and they have family gatherings, and they don't make work the priority of their life, other than the fact that you have to work to provide. Maybe another aspect of culture would be the fact that when we're on the topic of work, there is a large number of people, especially in the younger generations, who actually believe that work is unnecessary, that we're looking towards a future where we don't have to work. And I would just say, be cautious with that. Anyone who's been unemployed for a length of time knows how painful it can be. Anyone who has been unemployed, even if they're getting money, income, say a person's getting cash from a settlement, let's say they're getting unemployment, we want to feel like we've done something in this world. We want to feel like we've not just left a mark. We don't have to build a pyramid or make a name for ourselves or have some amazing invention. What we've got to do is invent ourselves. And we've got to continuously work on ourselves. I thought I had it together when I was in my 20s. Not financially, but mentally. I thought that I understood this world. But every year, I can continually surprised with the new discoveries about how people think, how people function. And knowing how people think helps to understand how the world got to the way it was and the way it is. We're losing a lot of our values. That sounds like a conservative talking point. Definitely not a conservative. But I do try to empathize with everyone with a different opinion on, not just politics, but how to live our lives. There are the people who say, do things for yourself, earn money, get status, and don't worry about any of the other stuff. And then there's others who say, no, we should embrace our version of God. We should embrace our version of self. We should self-improve. And then there's everyone in between. Honestly, I've found the best thing I can do is just try to navigate with a little gusto, force myself up in the morning, get to work, do what I have to do, knowing that there's no end goal other than the things that I create for myself. My wife and I would love to get a piece of land with a house on it. Something modest. Don't need a bunch of space. I don't need anything fancy. But I do have a goal that we're working towards, and that makes it easier. So if we don't have any goals in our lives, then things can become pretty boring pretty quickly. So, and it's not a financial goal that always matters. I think a desire to be comfortable in our own skin should be one of our top priorities. Understanding who we are through experimentation within our own mind. Just some morning thoughts. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'm going to get to work now. Y'all take care.